so here we are talking about section 4.3 summary, talking about 4.3 logarithmic scales. And we're going to go down. We've gone through, in general, what a log scale is. We're going to come back to that in just a second. We talked about pH scale, we talked about decibel scale, and here is earthquakes, the Richter scale. If we're talking about a magnitude 8 earthquake is how many times more intense than a magnitude 5? It would be 10 to the third power equals 10 to the 8 minus 5 power, and that would be 1,000 times more powerful than a magnitude 5 earthquake. In general, here's what we'd have. If we've got a linear scale here measuring the intensity of vibrations on a seismograph, something that measures Earth movement basically. We're talking about intensity. That would just be a linear scale. This would be a linear scale. If we compare that to a logarithmic scale would be something down here. This would be the Richter scale. People are familiar with the Richter scale. What's magnitude 7 earthquake, magnitude 8 earthquake, something like that. That would be a logarithmic scale. So if we went from, for example, a size 5 to a size 8 magnitude earthquake on the Richter scale, that would be multiplying by 5 to 6 would be multiplied by 10, 6 to 7 would be again multiplied by 10, 7 to 8 would be multiplied by 10 because we're on a log scale. So that means we're multiplying by 1,000 to get a difference in the intensity multiplied by 1,000. So let's take maybe a specific example, and we'll say, well, what happens if, and here's an example I took from the book. If we started with an 8.3 earthquake, and we said an earthquake, well, let's see, let's start off with our magnitude. Magnitude equals, and this is the general definition of the Richter scale, magnitude equals magnitude of a Richter scale earthquake is the log base 10 of some intensity measured by this green scale up here divided by some standard. We don't know what the standard is. We really don't even need to know it. But if we kind of talk about this scale, we can talk about number one, what happens if I've got an 8.3 magnitude earthquake, and we want to say that that's we want to compare that maybe to an earthquake that's 4 times the intensity of that earthquake. What's the magnitude of that new earthquake? Well, if I've got an 8.3 earthquake and I've got some log base 10 of I over S, we can kind of, I over S. We can rewrite that, or I guess kind of use this as a definition. Here's our magnitude 8.3, here's our log of I over S is log of I over S, and that's our magnitude of just a standard earthquake, of some earthquake. And if we say, well, what happens, what's the magnitude of an earthquake on the Richter scale if we have a new earthquake that's maybe 4 times the size of that? So if we've got a magnitude earthquake that's 4 times the size of that, that magnitude equals log base 10 again of 4 times the intensity. Let's say we found out that the intensity was 4 times as much. With this earthquake, we kind of moved maybe from here to here. With this earthquake, we moved on our intensity scale 4 times as big. So let's find out what that, how we can kind of compare those two. This new magnitude earthquake is log of 4 times the intensity over that standard again. We don't need to know the standard. We don't really even need to know the intensity because we're going to play with the rules of logs. And we can say that this is log of 4 times I over S, and all I did, whoops, I'm going to clear that up a little bit, and all I did was separate this 4 times I over S into 4 over 1 times I over S, and all I'm doing is pulling that 4 out as a different fraction, let's say. And now we can say that the same magnitude equals log, if we're using our rules of logs, log of AB equals log of A plus log of B. Those are from the rules of exponents. All we're doing is separating this as a product, 4 times I over S, log of 4, plus log of I over S. And we can pull out the calculator and say, what is log of 4? Log of 4, plug in the 4 and get the log of it. We get 0.6. Magnitude equals log of 4, 0.6. Log of I over S, well, we already know that log of I over S is 8.3 because that was kind of what we're comparing to. So log of 4 is 0.6. We're just adding 0.6 to our magnitude on the Richter scale, and our magnitude of a 4 times as intense earthquake is 8.9. And all we do is kind of separate this out. So we can say that if I move 4 times as much on this linear scale, that just we have to just take the log of that. So from here, take the log of the multiplication of the intensity. This is 4 times as intense. We take the log of that 4 to move us along that Richter scale. So that's all we do with the log scale. If we're given the intensity as 4 times as much, intensity is 4 times as much as this original earthquake, we just write it down as 4 times the intensity and pull out the log of 4, and the log of 4 is what's added to the intensity, that original intensity. So we kind of change it into a log scale.